Hello, Ken Spriggs here with my Wonderfest video, going over my time at Wonderfest this past weekend in Louisville, Kentucky. For those of you unfamiliar with Wonderfest, it is an annual event or convention held in Louisville, Kentucky every year at the first week of June. And it is exclusively, well, mostly exclusively dedicated to science fiction, fantasy, horror, that kind of thing. They have a really great model convention, a model contest, I'm sorry. And I have pretty much always taken in models and entered them into the contest there. They also have a really large vendor room, which is great for buying merchandise. They have different presentations showing different modeling techniques, and they also have different celebrities and guests appearing there as well, which is always very good. But especially what I like the most is just getting together with many of my fellow modelers in the modeler community or fellow YouTubers, which I'll talk about here shortly, and just kind of spending that time with them, which is really great. So pardon my voice, and at some points it might get a little rougher. I'm just getting over a chest cold, and it's just a chest cold. Started this past Tuesday. I'm not even sure that it came from me being down at Wonderfest, but I did a home test for the other thing, which I won't mention, and I don't have that. And I'm already feeling better, but my voice is still kind of gruff because it was a chest and sore throat and that kind of thing going on. So you'll excuse me, my voice is a little bit rough. But I took 4 models this year. I took my Aries 1B with a fabulous painting from Oggie Gonzalez. I took my just completed the day before Mandalorian N1 Starfighter in the Beggar's Canyon diorama. I took my ATST from the Mandalorian episode The Sanctuary, and I took my Charge bust, which is a sexy version of the Bride of Frankenstein from Filmy's Girls. So I haven't really said too much about the award that I won from that, and I'm only going to speak briefly about it. I don't go to these conventions just to get awards. Awards are nice, awards are good, and you know, it's kind of a recognition, but unfortunately you're talking about, you know, a limited group of people, or maybe one person, who knows, I don't know how they do their judging, but telling you what they think your model is. I don't need someone to tell me the worth of my model. I know what it is. Not only that, but you know, I'm involved in many different social medias and outlets. Obviously, YouTube. I'm on Facebook and several groups that some that I'm actually administrator on. I'm on Instagram and that sort of thing. So sometimes I think that they get it right, and I've certainly won quite a few awards in the past from Wonderfest. This year, not really what I think it should have been. But I only won 1 award. I won a bronze on my Aries 1B. I actually technically won merits on my other 3 models, which I didn't actually even get all 3 of those. They only put 1 there on the table, so we won't talk about that. But again, so I don't know what the situation is there. I don't know why their awarding is kind of strange and random and all over the place, but I certainly think all the awards that won the higher golds and silvers absolutely deserved them. They did. I think that there were some others, myself included, that also should have received those same merits. I'll just leave it at that. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so let me get on to the things that I really love about Wonderfest and I really love about the get-together. And I love the contest, and as much as I love the contest, of course, and I love seeing all the models and that kind of thing, I love the modeling community. I really do. And as I said, I mean, other than conventions, I'm on Facebook in several groups, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, of course, and this really has opened up the door for me to interact with other modelers and really build friendships with people all over the country and even other parts of the world, which I have gotten to know. And have long distance relationships, and we talk sometimes on Facebook Messenger. We certainly interact on Facebook and that sort of thing. Excuse me. So this year was no exception. It was quite phenomenal. Oggie Gonzalez, my great friend from Starship Modeler, who did my painting for the Ares 1B, he had flown in and he was there and entered 4 of his models that were smaller. So we spent a lot of time together, went out to dinner, went out to lunch, went to the contest, went to the presentation. So it was pretty fantastic. We also met up with and spent some time with Lou Dalmaso from Aztec Dummy, and 2 new, well, they're not new to me, 2 fellow YouTubers, Phil from Sprueverse and Wayne from World of Wayne. They both have YouTube channels, just like Lou and Augie and myself. And I had talked to Phil prior to this, and he's like, yeah, we should hook up and get together. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And then I realized that there was a video shortly before Wonderfest that they actually met up with Lou back in North Carolina, where he lives, and they were able to see his phenomenal man cave, his model cave, and his amazing collection. And then Lou ended up driving into Wonderfest. They ended up flying down to, I believe, Dallas and out to California. And then they've had some other videos on, and they were talking about they had gone to Washington, D.C. Wayne is from England, and he was in visiting. Phil lives in San Diego, where Augie lives as well. He was in San Diego, California. So they were talking quite a bit and just sharing stories. I will put the link to everybody's channel in the description, so check them out, absolutely. Subscribe to their channel. Really, really great stuff that they're doing. Lou and Phil and Wayne are going to be doing a buddy build over the next several months of the classic time machine from the George Powell film of the 60s. And they're all building the same model, and they're having the wheel spin on the back and lights that are synchronized and all kinds of things. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be pretty fantastic. So definitely check those out. In addition, I also met quite a few of my subscribers, and I'm not sure if all of them were subscribers, and it doesn't matter if they are or not, but quite a few people that came up to me and talked to me and told me how much they like my models. And, we would talk about my model, and I would ask them about, if they entered models, and go and look at their models, which I like to do, and encourage them, and I really am about encouraging the modeling community for you to get your feet wet, get out there, build your models, get better at it, feel confident about what you're doing. And don't let anybody give you negative feedback that's not deserved or proper critique and make you feel bad that you shouldn't be doing it. Now, interestingly enough, I often ask these people, hey, do you have a YouTube channel? Because if they're telling me they're building models, I want to know if they have a channel. I'd love to go and watch their channel and check out their models. Sometimes they do. Very often they don't. And I get kind of a mixed reaction, and it's sort of like, well, I don't know. I don't think I could do that. And it's like, again, I'm not a professional videotaper, which people often point out to me. So I've gotten better, and I've honed my skills as well with that. But I like to do it because I love to share my work with other people, and I love to share my techniques with other people. And when they give me suggestions, oftentimes I'll take it into account and say, that's a great idea, why don't I do that? And in addition, sometimes I will get ideas from other modelers' channels, which I watch quite a few of, and get ideas from them. So I highly recommend it, So let me start off first of all with some images, some pictures of myself with Phil from Sprueverse, Oggie Gonzalez from Interstellar Modeler, Lou Dalmaso from Aztec Dummy, and Wayne from World of Wayne. And it's just a few pictures we took, and one of them was at dinner. We went out to a really good barbecue place called Mama's, which has just the most incredible barbecue. It's in Kentucky, of course, so they have barbecue and bourbon and things like that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the images, the pictures of them, and the great time that we had together. All right, so sorry to keep you delayed in seeing the actual models and things like that. So the first thing I want to do is I had the pleasure of talking to a modeler who was entering his first model at Wonderfest. He did the smaller version of the Enterprise refit. His name is Joe. I'm not going to give you his last name. I don't want to give away his privacy. I just gave Lou Dalmaso because he gives his name away on his channels all the time. But so we were first talking about my Aries, and he was happy. He liked it a lot, and we were talking about it. And I said, "Oh, have you entered anything?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got one down here. It's I'm like, let's go take a look at it." So he did a fantastic job. And the most amazing thing about this model is that this was not one of the current recent ones. This is one of the older ones. I think he said like 40 years old, from when he built it many years ago. And obviously we all did. We built really crappy versions and painted them really badly. So he stripped the whole thing down. He took pieces of it apart. He redid the whole model. He put lights in it. He put the blinking lights in it. He has the windows all lit up. Of course, newer decals on it. He has some painted. He said the only decals, I believe he said, were like the registries and the text, you know, the Enterprise name and things like that. The rest of it, he painted them on, which looks amazing. I never would have thought they were painted. But he did a fantastic job. He has a great base on it that has like one of the LCAR displays of the ship and things like that. So really, really good. And I was telling him that we've kept in touch a little bit after the show, and we were talking about it, and still encouraging him, and I still encourage him now. It's like, keep doing that. What you're doing is amazing. Keep building. And if you feel like you would want to share that with other people, put it out there, at least on Facebook or Instagram. And then maybe at some point move up to YouTube and just do some short videos and present what you're doing, talk about your techniques. I would love to see that. And I'm sure many other modelers would also love to see that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Enterprise. I believe I'm not going to say for sure because I'd have to look at the pictures, but it's either the refit or the Enterprise A. But let's go ahead and take a look at this incredible build by Joe. All right, so the first thing I'm going to show are my entries into the contest. And as I said, I entered 4 of them: my Aries 1B, my Mandalorian N1 Starfighter, my ATST from the Sanctuary episode of The Mandalorian, and my Charge sexy bust from Filmy Girls. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. All right, so now let's go ahead and get to some video and slideshows of the contest room and the fantastic models that were entered this year. Now, like I said, there's about 12 categories, but I didn't take a picture of every single model and or enough of them that it would really make any sense to split up that many categories. So I just split them up into 2. I did one for vehicles, which is anything spaceships, ground vehicles, submarines, any vehicle at all, even if it involved the diorama. I put that into that category. The second category I just called it figures. That could be your busts, your horror, your sci-fi, your superheroes, your dinosaurs, anything that is primarily a character or a, some type of figure-based a monster, something like that. And I do have quite a few videos. You know, Oggie Gonzalez, he shared some of his close-up videos with me as well, so I can get some better shots of that as well. So, all right.
If you remember, it was after a very prolific 2 years of quarantine.
I ended up paying I'll have to bear.
All right, so just some fantastic models for sure. It did not disappoint. Really, really incredible things, and a lot of really imaginative and innovative types of things. And another great thing about the convention is that Fine Scale Modeler magazine always sends some people to take photos of certain models. Some of them they present in their magazine, and I've had a few of mine in there. Lately, it looks like a lot of them go onto their webpage, but it's also very cool that and they're models that they like. They don't just go, they do this on like the first day before any of the models were given awards or judged. So they decide what they want to see or what would look good in their magazine. So this year they picked my N1 Starfighter, which I was really proud of, and took some photos of it. So let me go ahead and show you that. The next thing I'm going to show you, and it's just some brief things. I don't do a lot of footage of these things generally, and that's the vendor's room. And the reason is, like, you know what a vendor's room is. You know the kind of things they're selling. It's not going to do you any good to see, oh, look, they were selling that model I would like, but you weren't there to buy it. So, but one thing I do focus on, and I always like to focus on, is round two, which is also Polar Lights and AMT and MPC. They're really increasing their line of models, and they have some really awesome announcements that have come out that that I took some pictures of, and I want to show that and demonstrate that too. Really happy with their work, and really excited with their Star Trek. They now have Star Wars. They certainly do the Space 1999, which is quite a lot of things. They just announced at this show that they're going to be doing the UFO ships. They're starting with the Interceptor and the mobile, the Shadow Mobile, which I am very excited about. And they even said they were surprised that there was so much excitement for it. I'm not surprised. I've always loved that show, and I've always loved the ships on that, like the Skydiver and the UFO itself, and just all of them, just fantastic. So I'm really excited to see that. They had a build-up version of their Razor Crest that should be coming out later this year, and the box, showing the box art, which is really cool. Some additional things from Star Trek and Star Wars and things like that. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that and just see the really cool things that are coming out soon.
I've got a friend that's got a car.
All right, so I attended 3 presentations, which were really cool. The main one I really liked was the Nicholas Meyer, talking about his time filming Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan and the Undiscovered Country. And I didn't film the other presentations because they are lengthy and it wouldn't really be doing them justice. And just taking some pictures wouldn't really give you an idea of what they were going over. But they were really, really good as well. But I do have a short clip, a little over a minute, of Nicholas Meyer talking about his, I guess, his kind of rules or his basis of what he does as a writer and or director. So, and I thought it was pretty funny. So let's take a look.
Make of works of art what they will. They always have. In short, I am not the answer to a book of math equations at the back. I can perhaps say what I intended or attempted or thought I was trying to accomplish, but not what any of it means to each of you. My second caveat is this, that like magic tricks, when once explained, an artist's answers tend to disappoint. Art, and science too, for all I know, is much more interesting posing questions than answering them. As you may gather, this, if I have anything to say about it, is going to be a talk about ideas. Answers may be few, but perhaps the questions will hold your attention. Thirdly, and lastly, writers are liars. That's why Plato didn't want us in his Republic.
All right, so the last thing I'm going to show you, and this is also one of my favorite things about Wonderfest, is all the great vendors. And I like to go home with certainly some modeling supplies, sometimes some aftermarket parts, which I got this time around as well. I always like to find some kind of model to build. I didn't know what I was looking for, and I have pretty much all the models that I want. I get on my own from you know, online, called TV Man, that sort of thing. But I was looking around and I didn't actually settle on something until Sunday, which, can you guess what it is? Just kidding, you can see what it is. But let me talk about these other things first. So the first thing I got was this replacement door for the Aries 1B from Paragraphics. Now this is a special version for the Wonderfest, which is limited to, where's the number? 30. So this was 12 of 30. It's actually carved on the back of it as well. This is 3D printed. They didn't have time to start casting ones in resin before the contest for Wonderfest, but they wanted to have some, so they brought these and sold them. So very cool. It's a lot deeper. It's supposed to be a better profile, and it's designed that it will fit into the kit. Obviously, this would go in from the inside out and just match up through that opening. Now, for mine, the beauty is, since I've already made mine replaceable, sorry for the sirens. As I've said before, I live near hospitals. I'm always hearing sirens or fire trucks. So I could still carve this to fit in there from the outside and attach magnets to it and just adapt it. And then paint it, of course, to match the rest of the ship. So no hurry on that, but I did want to get that because I do like that part of theirs. And it wasn't completed in time, obviously, when I was building mine. Some other things I got are some materials I use a lot. This 8mm Tamiya tape, and I have the dispenser for it. I just replace it. I use this all the time for masking. I really like it. It's really good tape. It doesn't pull the paint up. I got these because I have maybe about 8 alligator clips, and I just cut off the end of a Q-tip and stick it up there, but you could also use like a cocktail stick. But these are really good for holding parts that you're painting and, you know, put them into a styrofoam block and be able to handle them properly. I got my regular standby of epoxy sculpt. Now, in this case, I went with something, I think it's a little different. It's not the white that it usually is, but it's probably more of a gray. But it's the same thing. It does the same thing. I use this a lot, and I was definitely running out of epoxy sculpt, and used up most of it making my my parts for my vacuum form. And then the last thing I got were these 2 scenic materials, and I've been looking for these for a while. They're hard to find for some reason, but you have these snow micro balloons. and I won't open this, but this is a really, really super microfine white powder. And it sounds like from the instructions, you just use the same kind of ideas that you would use for attaching other scenic material, like the sand I did for my diorama of Baker's Canyon. But it's really fine, so it looks a lot more realistic. In addition, you have ice sparkles, which same thing. These are really super fine, and they shimmer and sparkle, as you can see. Actually, is that just a picture? That's a picture, I'm sorry. You can make it out in there. But same thing. So if I wanted to do a snow scene where it's hard to find some decent snow, I wanted to get these to be able to use it. So, all right. And then the last thing I got, which obviously you can tell, is the very first version of the 1/350 scale Enterprise. They're calling it the Enterprise A. So technically the refit was not the A. The refit just is 1701. It's the original classic Enterprise that was totally refurbished and the new shell put on it and it was all fixed up. But the A, after the refit, or after the refit was destroyed, then they rebuilt the whole ship, and they were building one. I forget what this was supposed to be, but they called it the A. So I bought this off of I didn't know these guys too well. I hadn't seen their booth before, but they had this, and they ended up selling it to me for $55. Now, good news and bad news, and eventually good news. So I bought it, and they were telling me it's all complete. I just did a cursory look at it, and I hadn't really seen the kit before, so I didn't want to press the point. But then I went and I purchased the Aztec Dummy mask set, and I was going to use that, which is $48. So then when I got back to my hotel, I opened the box up and I looked through it. So it isn't all there. Not even close. I believe all of the main plastic kit parts are there. There are no clear parts. And this has an extensive, I think it's at least 2 sprues worth of clear parts, such as the inner parts of the nacelles, the windows, all the windows in it have clear parts, the impulse engines, the little dome at the top of the ship that lights up blue, the dish in the front, totally missing. So at first I was rather unhappy. I was upset. But to my surprise, it had a full set of the Aztec Dummy mask set within it, which I don't think they knew that. So I thought, well, that isn't too bad. So I returned the other one that I bought, and they were gracious enough to take it back. Not the people that sold me this. A far more accurate group. And they said, well, why don't you contact Round 2, who does Polar Lights? A lot of times you can get the missing parts from them. And I said, well, that's a great idea. So I did. I contacted them today. I sent them, filled out a form on their site and sent it to them. And they're going to sell me the entire clear sprues for about $35, which is fantastic. So that'll complete my model. And in addition, so in the end, I paid about $90, no shipping, because the $35 includes the shipping. And I got both the full model, which usually runs about $99, and I got the mask set, which runs about $48. So you're looking at about $150. I got it for $90. So I got a great deal. So even though I don't know if they deliberately tried to cheat me or they were just ignorant of what they had, which is no excuse. They should know what they have. They should be looking at it and comparing the parts, because I took their word for it. But it turned out great, and I got a really nice haul. Now, the reason I picked this is what I had mentioned earlier, is that I really feel intimidated by doing Aztec painting. That's why I wanted the Aztec Dummy mask set. So I figured, well, this one's a pretty good price. Let me go ahead and tackle it. Let me take that on. And, worst case scenario, it doesn't look as good as I want it to be. I don't think that'll be the case. But I can certainly hone my skills on doing that. So I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do all the lights. I probably kind of have to. But the nice thing is this one doesn't have any spinning nacelles or moving anything. It just has lights and it has, you know, blinkers and that kind of thing. So those wouldn't be as hard. The painting would be the biggest task to do. So, all right, fantastic. All right, so really, really good time. Really enjoyed meeting up with my fellow modelers and YouTubers. And I'm sorry I don't have all the names of all the people that met me. I need to get better at that. I noticed that Oggie, a lot of people that come up to him, he takes a picture with them, he takes a selfie with them, and he gets their name and presents it on there. And I really should do that. I really do appreciate it. I do indeed. If you're ever at a convention, if you're ever at Wonderfest, if you ever happen to go to IPMS in Indianapolis, which is usually held in April of every year, look me up. I'm going to be at either one of those. And I would love to meet any other modelers and talk to them. Absolutely. I would never, ever be unhappy that somebody came up and wanted to talk to me, either about my models or their models or my channel or whatever, or their channel. Absolutely love it. So that's also one of the really great things I love about it. Just meeting all the people, interacting with the other fantastic modelers in the community that are out there. So, all right. So thanks for watching. Thank you to all my new subscribers, and stay tuned. And I will be returning to some videos here within the next probably 2 weeks or so, just kind of recuperating and getting back into the groove of things and start building again. And then I'll start posting my videos once more. Thank you.